Hey everybody, it's Angelique with the tutorial on my Super Bowl Sunday painting. And I'm going to do this tutorial a little bit differently because the videos are so long sometimes and they eat up all the storage on my phone and my iPad, and they're probably kind of boring. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a step and then I'm going to pause it, and then I'm going to do another step and then I'm going to pause it, and then I'm going to sync all of them together. So we're going to see how this works. So this is a fairly easy painting. Thank you, by the way, for purchasing it. And I have all the teams that you can change the logo and change the colors. So all the kits are like custom to your team. So I think I'm going to stick with doing the Raiders one because that's a little bit easier. And I actually printed out the wrong decal. I printed out the Oakland Raiders one instead of the Las Vegas Raiders, but that's okay. So I'm going to start by first painting the background green. So what does that mean? That means taking one of your brushes, and we all have different brushes, and it's all about what feels comfortable to you. I put a little bit of water on my brush, but I'm going to put a light layer of water on my whole canvas. We used to do this before because the canvases were like dry and brittle. Then someone told me not to do that anymore, and I don't want the first layer of paint to get absorbed in my canvas. So you could take a spray bottle. I've seen people do it on the front and the back. I'm going to try doing that this time. I'm going to do the front and the back of the canvas with a little bit of water. And then you're going to wait for it to dry, and then you're going to paint your green background. We always start with the background in the paint party world. So I'm going to pretend my canvas is dry, which it's not, but wait for that water to dry, and then we're going to outline it, because I found that when I have you guys outline it, it's easier. You can use any brush. I'm using a flat blue handle brush, but if you got the pack of brushes, just use whatever brush feels comfortable with you for you. I like to outline first because then we can fill in the tight spaces as we're outlining, because we're going to paint the background in with a bigger brush, and that takes a little while. I'm going to paint right over the football field because it is green as well. So I am filling in these spots, and then I want you to take your biggest brush you have in your kit and paint the background in green, okay? So I'm going to do that and come back. Okay, I'm back. So I painted the canvas background, the background of the painting green, and I even did the sides. That's called wrapping painting. Make sure you paint the sides. When you paint the sides, you won't need a frame for your masterpiece. The painting will look fully finished. It's called wrapping your painting. So make sure you paint the sides. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to paint her beautiful brown skin. Now you have to decide, and I want to paint her skin because I might want to put another coat on it later. Also, the background, if it's kind of splotchy to you and it's not as smooth as you want it to be, you're going to apply another coat of paint. Once this dries, apply another layer, because acrylic paints get a little bit more vibrant and definitely more opaque, meaning no white showing through when you apply different layers, okay? So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to paint her beautiful brown skin. You can use the brown right out of here if you want. If you want to make her skin lighter, you're going to mix a little bit of brown paint. I'm going to use the lid here and a little bit of white paint and make it a little light, the skin tone a little lighter. You can, if you want to make it darker, mix a little bit of black paint in it, but it's a tiny, tiny bit of black, because the black is very, very powerful. And just like we did how we outlined before, I'm going to outline all the areas that are going to be brown, and then I'm going to paint it in. I'm even going to paint over her lips because I can go back later and do the black outline. So you can paint around, or you can paint directly over her lips. What else is brown? I see right here I missed the area of green, so I'm going to go back and do that. But this is her arm right here. So I like to kind of mark it off for you in the tutorial so you know. So just outline those arms. And then her little tummy here is also brown. I think those are the only areas, and don't forget her neck right here. So I'm going to do that and be right back. Okay, I'm back, and guess what? I forgot to tell you to paint the football. Paint the football brown as well. So, if you didn't do that, go back and do the football. I'm not gonna do the white lines, the strings on the football and stuff like that until I'm happy with the brown. I'm not happy with the brown yet. I'm gonna have to apply another layer of brown because I want my football to be a little bit darker. For the lips, I added a little bit of white paint to my brown and made the lips a little bit whiter. If you look on the painting, her lips are a little whiter. You might want to add pink or red. I was just trying to keep the colors to a minimum. And I kind of like the natural look of the lip. I'm painting it like this. So the next thing I'm going to do is make a little gray paint. And I'm going to make gray with lifting a little bit of white paint and a tiny bit of black. And I'm going to mix it together. And I hope you can see this. I'm such a messy painter. I should have took these off first. And I'm going to make a little bit of gray, or maybe you have gray in your kit, because sometimes I put gray in the kit. But I don't like the way that gray looks, so I like to make my own gray. So I'm mixing a little bit of white and black, actually more white paint than black paint, right? And I made that gray paint right there. And then I'm going to outline everything that's gray on here. So, of course, your colors of your teams might be different. I would keep the pants gray on all the paintings, but of course, if you want to really get into the colors of your team, paint the pants a different color if you want to and get fancy. So I'm going to do my gray pants and everything that's gray. That's going to be that and that. And I'm not going to do the gray on the belt just yet, okay? So work on your gray or whatever color that your team is. And so this whole process is going to be like coloring, but just with you're using a paintbrush instead of a crayon. And we're going to do the details in the painting later. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the gray, and I'm actually going to paint the black as well and do the belt by painting the belt black, and then I'm going to go over it later with the gray. So do the details last, right? So just paint your uniform just like you're coloring, but with a paintbrush, and I'll see you right back. So I'm back, and I've completed the black. So your uniform might be a little different, but we're all doing black hair. So I want to make sure I let you know how to do the black hair. Now, I'm going to take the brush that's flat, but you can experiment with any brush and tap along the edges of the afro. And once you start tapping, you'll see the effect that you'll get. But more importantly, not just on the edges, but you really actually have to tap inside the fro too to get a little textured effect. So once the first coat dries, then we're going to go in and we're going to tap our brush, and we're even going to take a little gray paint. And even if you don't want her to look like a senior, the gray paint will help you create texture in the afro, right? But if you put a little too much gray, she will look like a senior. So you want to go back over it with black. So play around with the hair a little bit. And also I want you to take a look at her belt. There's some gray lines in her belt that make it look like a belt. So we need to make sure that the belt is dry before we do that, okay? So play around with the fro, play around with the belt. Also, if you're not happy with your background, put another layer of green on your background and another layer of brown on that football, okay? Be right back. Okay, so you've been playing around with the afro a little bit. I do want to recommend, maybe if you want to, grabbing a Q-tip. If you painted with me before, you've seen me use a Q-tip and kind of dab all around the edge of the afro. And remember, in the inner part of the afro, because you want to create that textured effect, right? And also, don't forget to dab around her little hairline, because you don't want it to be totally clean. You don't want it like a fresh line. You want to dab around her hairline there to make it look like there's a little texture there. Now, usually we save the white paint for last, but this painting is a little bit different. I'm washing off my brush right now because I'm going to create the lines in the football and on the football field. You might want to use your little skinny detail brush to do it, or I'm using that same flat brush. And if you have a better flat brush in your kit, use the flat brush or whatever brush feels good to you. When I do the football, make sure the football is dry, and I'm putting kind of a heavy layer of white paint, and I'm mimicking the football strings that you should see on your reference photo. So use your reference photo. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. I don't have enough room because I wasn't paying attention. I'm just gonna put 4 on mine. Still looks like a football, right? And there's like a white highlight right there on the football. And I'm okay with my football now, okay? And then I'm gonna do the lines on the field. The lines on the field. So I did kind of a thick line there, and I'm using the flat brush with whatever brush feels good to you. I'm gonna do the same thing on that side, and I'm doing the lines on the field. The last thing that we're gonna do to this painting is we're gonna work on the outlining, okay? And the outline's gonna be done with the skinny brush in black paint. So I have white pretty much everywhere I want it. Her earrings, my afro is not dry. When my afro is dry, I'm going to add her earrings, okay? So I'm done with the white for right now. I'm gonna switch to this little fine brush right here. So whatever brush you have with a fine tip, I'm gonna put a little water on it because these bristles tend to be a little stiff. So I'm gonna loosen up the bristles. I'm gonna go into my black paint, and I'm gonna start doing some outlining. So around the uniform, around the collar, and I'm just gonna look around and see where I wanna do a little outline. Definitely her lips. When I come back, I'm gonna show you how to attach the decal to the jersey. So have fun outlining, okay? Bye-bye. All right, back again. So I went and did all of the outlining that I wanted to do. Even there's a little outlining on the numbers on the football field. I think it makes the numbers stand out a little bit better. Don't forget to outline her lips. I'm highly recommending you not putting a face on here. And the reason why I tell people don't put a face, because faces are difficult to do. And if you don't know the proper placing of the eyes and the nose, it's going to look a little silly, but you can do it if you want to. But if you do decide to put a face on it, I would recommend Googling how to draw a face so you can place the nose and the eyes properly. But anyway, I digress. The next step would be to put the decal on and to put her earrings on. If her hair is dry, I wanted to show you how to do the earrings. I'm using the pointed detail brush, going right into my white paint, and I always tell people to think of the letter C, like I'll do this side. So I'm gonna come from the middle of the side of her face, and I'm kind of making like the letter C, and then a backwards one on this side, right? And then you can thicken them up a little bit to make them look more like earrings. But the key thing is make sure her hair is dry, okay? Those are the earrings there. How to do the decal. So the decal, I want you to make sure you have Mod Podge. I put a little X on the top of the Mod Podge, and if you picked up the kit from me, I probably told you what it was. But if for some reason I forgot it, or you're doing this painting at home, Mod Podge. And it's kind of, you could probably use Elmer's glue, to be honest with you. But what you're gonna do, the trick is to make it lay down properly, is to wet the back. So I'm taking a brush, and I'm just putting some water on the back of my decal. Forgive me for getting the Oakland Raiders. And I'm just gonna put it on there and kind of center it the best that I can. I think it's better if I lay it down. And it's going to adhere a little bit better, like the edges are not going to lift up later if you put a little bit of water on the background. Just a little bit. Not a lot, because you don't want the ink to smear on your decal, okay? So don't put a lot of water on it. Just a little bit to get it to stick first. And then right over it, we're going to paint with, and it has to be a brush that you're not going to use anymore, or you're prepared to wash out, okay? So I'm putting Mod Podge mostly over the edges first, because I want the edges to lay down. And then I'm going to put it over the entire decal. It looks like Elmer's glue, but it is going to dry clear. So a light coat across it, okay? Make sure that black or whatever color you're putting over it, that you're painting over, is dry. I'm painting over the entire area because it gives it like a shiny finish. And I want the shirt to be shiny. So I put a little bit too much water on mine and kind of smeared the letters a little bit, but not too much Mod Podge. That's going to dry just fine. All right. And that's it. That's your Super Bowl painting. I hope your team won. I hope this was fun for you. I hope this is a better tutorial than my usual ones that last forever. And send me your painting. I want to see what your painting looks like. And don't forget to sign and date it. So this is a new kind of short form of the tutorials. Yeah, I think I like this way better. I hope you do too. See you next time. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. And even if it's not Super Bowl, you can still order a kit of your favorite team. Thanks. Share with your friends. And I want to see some comments. Thank you. Bye-bye.